Breaking now on Eyewitness News at 5, a deadly plane crash. The victims believed to be NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and his immediate family.
Tonight, the Statesville Regional Airport is ground zero for investigators. Their focus, these burned pieces of the jet. Golfers nearby dropped to the ground before the deadly impact.
And as it kept approaching the tree line, we realized that it was way too low.
Team coverage now on Channel 9. Expert insight into the type of aircraft involved, what the flight path tells us, and the less than ideal flying conditions.
And a focus on the victims.
If I don't put my tools down and go to the airport, get my helicopter out and try and go get them, I don't know, who will.
Biffle's generosity after Helene tore through western North Carolina. Full and comprehensive coverage. You're watching Eyewitness News live at 5. Channel 9 was first on the scene shortly before 11 a.m. this morning.
Our team has been talking to witnesses and investigators out there all day. Let's catch you up on the very latest tonight. In the past 20 minutes, the Biffle family released a statement saying Greg, his wife Christina, son Ryder, and daughter Emma were among the 7 people who were on board and died in this plane crash. Condolences are pouring in from the NASCAR community tonight as the NTSB says it will start its investigation tonight.
We have team coverage for you, sharing stories from people who saw the tragedy unfold and people who witnessed Biffle's humanitarian impact after Hurricane Helene.
Let's start with our Dave Faraday. He was the first reporter at the Statesville Regional Airport this morning. He starts our team coverage to share how the scene out there has evolved throughout the day. Dave?
Scott, this is about as close as we could get to that crash scene. If you look behind me, you can see the airport. Let me step over to the camera real quick, and I'm just going to kind of push in and grab a focus there off in the distance. You can see what's left of that plane after the crash earlier today. Something else we found out from some eyewitnesses, they actually described seeing fire and flames as the plane was coming back in this area. This roadway runs right along the end of the runway. I can actually see some charred marks down off in this direction. Our cameras captured this video shortly after the crash as smoke rose from the wreckage at the Statesville Regional Airport. Eyewitnesses described seeing the plane go down during the landing and smoke and flames across the end of the runway. The Cessna Citation was owned by former NASCAR driver Greg Biffle.
The whole end of the runway was on fire, so I knew something, plane had come down.
300 yards from the crash scene, Scott Sane was working at a construction project at the new terminal at the airport and saw smoke and flames. There was so much damage here, he immediately thought of the people on board.
I was sad for the folks. We're here in the Christmas season, and there's going to be some families that's hurting at this time.
The city of Statesville confirmed the airport is now closed because of the crash site and the debris on the runway. According to FlightAware, the plane's flight plan showed the aircraft taking off at 10:06 this morning from Statesville Regional and climbing to just over 2,000 feet in elevation. These men were working near the terminal when it went down.
It was thick. When I walked over there, you could actually see the flames, and I mean, it was huge. It's very sad, very sad. And praying for everybody. A lot of prayers going up tonight. The NTSB posted this afternoon that their team will be arriving sometime this evening. Looking behind me right now, I don't see anyone around the plane. I do see 2 state trooper cars out there, but they are inside their vehicles right now, possibly waiting for that team from the NTSB to begin their investigation. NTSB says they plan on holding a briefing at some point tomorrow. Reporting live from Statesville, I'm Dave Faraday, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Dave, thank you. Do want to continue to read some late-breaking details in this statement just coming in from the Biffle family tonight. They say that family friends Dennis Dutton and his son Jack were also on that plane, as well as Craig Wadsworth. Their statement says, quote, each of them meant everything to us, and their absence leaves an immeasurable void in our lives. At this moment, our focus is on honoring their lives and supporting one another.
Now, the plane was a Cessna Citation built in 1981. It has 2 Pratt & Whitney engines. Its range is about 1,500 nautical miles, and it seats about 7 to 8 people.
Let's take you through the path of the flight so far. You can see the Citation. It climbs up to about 2,000 feet, starts to head southwest. as it follows, you can see here, parallel to I-40 and along Highway 70 right there. It appears to start to lose altitude. It gets down to about 1,300 feet, and then it starts to turn back to the northeast. As we see the animation continue, they're still setting there to the south. The climbs to about 1,900 feet. Now, everything in this flight tracker happens over about 7 minutes time. We learned this afternoon the plane was supposed to go to Sarasota, Florida today. From there, it was scheduled to fly to Treasure Cay Airport in the Bahamas and then back to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and returning to Statesville tonight. So all that in one day.
Now we want to show you this new video. You can see just how far the plane skidded after it made impact on the ground, crossing over a road there, crashing through a fence, and then going all the way across the field. It left a trail of scorched earth and smoke in its wake. Channel 9's Joe Bruno is continuing our live team coverage. He spoke with a golfer who saw it all happen.
Well, the golf course is right next to the runway, and he says he could tell something was wrong. The plane was just way too low, and it looked like the plane tried to make a last-minute effort to go back into the sky before crashing. This video taken by Joshua Green shows the aftermath of the deadly plane crash. Black smoke billowing into the air. Green and his buddies were golfing on the course next to the runway when it happened.
I turned my head and looked at my buddies go on the ground, and that's when I saw the plane reach the tree line of hole 9 and ultimately nosedive into the ground. It was terrible to watch, and all of us in the group are still shaken up.
Green called 911 and ran toward the wreckage before backing away, worried there may be another explosion. This video shows how the plane appeared to skid across the ground before coming to its final resting place on the end of the runway.
It's almost like they assumed that people would be on the golf course, so they pulled up just to try and make it over the golf course and to the runway that's just over the tree line on hole 9, but ultimately didn't make it.
The Highway Patrol believes NASCAR legend and community leader Greg Biffle was on board the flight with his family. Green says his thoughts and prayers are with everyone who knew him.
Greg is a great guy and a valuable member of the community, and what he's done, especially with the hurricane late last year, using this plane to take resources to and from. And from what I've heard about him, he sounds like a great guy, and it's a tragic event that's occurred today.
And he says, just like the conditions are right now, they were poor at the time of that crash landing. Reporting live in Statesville, Joe Bruno, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thank you for sharing that perspective, Joe. Now, Channel 9 spoke with an aviation expert and pilot, John Nance, earlier today to give us some more perspective into this plane that's involved in the investigation.
This is a very sophisticated jet, but this is a very reliable aircraft. It could carry up to 10 to 12 people, and it's certainly easy to fly. We want to know everything that happened. They'll be looking to create a record on everything they possibly can, and then about a year later, they'll issue their final report.
As you've already heard mentioned, Biffle playing a big part in Helene recovery. As a helicopter pilot, he flew into western North Carolina to save people stranded after the storm. Our Hannah Getz covered the recovery during Helene, and she's joining us live. Hannah, you spoke with a firefighter who was with Biffle for some of those missions.
Yeah, Scott, and as you mentioned, I spent days in western North Carolina covering Hurricane Helene, specifically in the Pensacola community, and that's the same community Greg Biffle made multiple supply drops. Now, today I talked to the assistant fire chief at the Pensacola Fire Department, and we talked about the days when the fire department was a field hospital, and Biffle was there to help.
Greg Biffle is known for his work on the racetrack. But in the fall of 2024, in the aftermaths of Hurricane Helene, he became known for his humanitarian efforts.
Greg flew several different days into our community, kind of on the upper end of the community in the Cattail area, which was really hard hit. He actually performed some rescues up there and brought some people out.
A recent NASCAR Hall of Fame nominee, but to many in western North Carolina, he was already a hero.
He's such a great guy, so down to earth, easy to talk to, and he was a huge help to a community that really, really needed it. That's the kind of thing you don't ever forget.
Bradley Boone is the assistant chief at the Pensacola Fire Department in hard-hit Yancey County. I spent time at his fire station in the days after the hurricane. Today, I talked to him about the help the community received from Biffle when they were praying for a miracle.
Sunday came, they were worried about, what are we going to do? I mean, everybody was cut off from the world. And they got in the station there and started praying for help. And they hadn't much more than said amen. They looked, and there was a blue helicopter circling overhead.
Boone says Biffle's home became a base for private aircrafts to take life-saving supplies to the mountains. Documenting a lot of the work on his YouTube channel, Biffle brought not just supplies, but hope for the people there.
I've seen a lot of posts from Pensacola people on Facebook. Everybody's heartbroken. It's a sad day for us in Pensacola.
Now, the condolences are pouring in from all over, including from some of those nonprofits that Biffle worked with during Hurricane Helene rescue efforts. And we will have more on that coming up at 5:30. Live in North Charlotte, Hannah Getz, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Just a taste of the man who he was. Hannah, thank you.
And this is unfortunately not the first time that NASCAR has lost one of its stars in an aviation crash. It was in April of 1993 that champion Alan Kulwicki and 3 others were on a private plane when it crashed near Blountfield, Tennessee. The FAA says ice in the engine inlet caused it. A few months later in July, Davey Allison tried to land a helicopter near Talladega Speedway when it crashed. He had only flown it 9 times before. The most notable crash was in October of 2004 when 10 people from Hendrick Motorsports were killed when their plane crashed into Bull Mountain in Virginia. Investigators say it happened during a missed approach to Blue Ridge Airport, about 12 miles west of Martinsville Speedway.
After the first crash reports came in, we launched Chopper 9 Sky Zoom, but some low clouds, a low ceiling north of Charlotte actually prevented us from getting any aerial look at the damage. Our chief meteorologist John Aarons is in Severe Weather Center 9. We want to stress we don't know what caused the plane to go down, but as far as flying, it was not good conditions.
Very poor sky. We've seen the ceilings were as low as about 700 feet. These are the visibilities that we have right now at the ground level, and around that time of the crash, it was about 4 miles or so, but the cloud deck got all the way up past 5,000 feet, and just based on your altitude reports, they were up certainly in that overcast conditions, and of course the rain that's been continuing, and that will continue up in from the south. So again, way too early to talk about as far as what caused this, but certainly the weather was less than ideal.